The airbag slammed into my face, leaving a sting that burned through the skin. Tiny shards of glass clung to my hands, catching in every line and groove like glitter forged from ash. The acrid scent of scorched rubber clung stubbornly to my nostrils as I sat in the ER, the harsh fluorescent lights overhead throwing a sterile glare that felt more like interrogation than care. I pulled out my phone, its cracked surface faintly glowing in the dim light. My thumb hovered over the keyboard before I began typing slowly, deliberately. I got into a bad accident at the ER. Can you come pick me up? The typing bubbles blinked for barely a moment before her reply appeared. Sorry, I'm at lunch with my male best friend. Can't just leave. I stared at the message. No concern, no hesitation, only a sharp, rehearsed dismissal. I tapped a short, final response. Okay. Then set the phone down. The officer taking my statement looked up. You got someone to come get you? She's busy, I said. He read the unspoken weight behind my words, pausing. Want me to tell her in person? I nodded once. There's a strange clarity in moments like that, when your body is still riding a wave of adrenaline. The hum of the hospital vents, the metallic taste of blood lingering on the back of your tongue, the lack of panic, it all hits you differently. I'd been here before, not in this ER, but in that quieter space where you finally confront the cracks in what you've been ignoring. She had mentioned him before. He's just a friend, she'd said with that particular inflection women used to make you doubt your own doubts. I never pressed, not from trust, but because silence often takes you farther than confrontation ever could. The accident wasn't planned. But what followed? That was instinct. 15 minutes later, we arrived at the restaurant. The officer went inside first while I lingered near the entrance, just enough to watch without becoming part of it. She was laughing when I saw her. That laugh, the one that leans in, brushing her hand against his. His eyes lingered on her, and hers never flinched. The officer approached their table, and the surrounding conversation seemed to dim under his presence. Ma'am, he said, voice steady, your partner was in a serious accident. He asked you to come. You refused. Her smile faltered. The man across from her shifted nervously. She stammered, words faltering, too fragile to finish. The officer gestured subtly toward the door. Her gaze followed, and there I was, hands in pockets, leaning casually, observing her like a stranger critiquing a painting already deemed unworthy. She froze, then rose. The officer stepped aside, but I didn't move toward her. I let the silence stretch, heavy and uncomfortable. Outside she caught up. Why didn't you just say you needed me? Her voice had that brittle edge, the one lies where while searching for shape. I did, I replied. You were busy. No, it wasn't. I smiled faintly. I didn't make it anything. I simply gave you a choice. You made it. She had no answer. By morning, her access to our shared life, accounts, keys, cloud storage, was gone. I didn't block her number. Blocking her would give her the closure of knowing I was done. Instead, I left the door just slightly ajar, a question she couldn't quite reach. When she texted we need to talk, I didn't respond. When she called, I let it ring. Weeks later I saw them again. Not by accident. Different street, different coat, same careless intimacy. I noticed how her hand rested lightly on his arm, how his smile seemed stitched into familiarity, proof of time spent that I hadn't witnessed. That's when it hit me, I hadn't lost her at the ER. I'd never really had her. People think betrayal comes like a sudden cliff, a single moment of shattering. But it doesn't. It's erosion. Slow, imperceptible, one choice at a time until the ground beneath you gives way. The accident didn't break anything, it only stripped away my last excuse to keep pretending. The last time I saw her she was alone. She looked thinner, weary, as though she'd been climbing a hill she didn't realize was endless. She opened her mouth, searching for words, but I walked past without a glance. Because the sharpest revenge isn't anger, confrontation, or even departure. It's showing them, silently and deliberately, that they no longer have a place in your story, and then turning the page.